if you pretty much went to the same places this week as you did last week, and pretty much ate the same food, and if you pretty much wore the same clothes, and pretty much spent time with the same people, and if you pretty much woke up at the same time, and pretty much went to bed at the same time, and pretty much watched the same programs, if you pretty much had the same discussions and the same routine this week as you did last week, guess what? Your life is going to be pretty much the same this week as it was last week. If you keep that up, and your life will eventually be the same in the next 3 weeks as it has been last week. So keep on pushing change away. Keep pushing it far away and not changing things and shaking things up in your life. And your life will be the same next year as it was last year. And the next 5 years from now, your life will be in the same place that it is today. So what does that tell us to do? Well, whatever you're happy with in your life today, keep doing what you're doing so it never changes. And whatever you're unhappy with in your life, change it today, or it will never change. Time is not like the Good Samaritan that will see you cast down and beaten and broken, crying for help on the side of the road, and stop to help you and change you and dress you and fix you up and carry you and make you better. No. Time turns a blind eye towards you and passes you by like you don't exist. Time just keeps on traveling. Time doesn't change anyone, but everyone can change in time. To expect a change in your life where no new action has been initiated is the true definition of insanity. To expect your health to change when no healthy food has been added to your diet, insanity. Or to expect your health to change where there's no physical activity added to your daily routine is insanity. 1 hour will always be 60 minutes. It will never change. And 1 day will always be 24 hours. It will never change. But what you do in an hour is what brings about change in your life. What you do in 24 hours is what can change the very course of your life. Every hour you can make the choice to succeed and move ahead, and every hour you can make the choice to remain the same, which will eventually lead to insufficiency, which will then lead to failure. Staying the same will eventually lead to insufficiency, and insufficiency will lead to failure. Insufficiency is the close cousin to failure. Insufficient funds means the person failed to make the payment. Insufficient marks means the person failed to pass the test. Insufficiency and failure go hand in hand. It's like you can't have one without the other. You can't have one without the other close by. So keep being insufficient, and failure is on the way. The warning here is that staying the same will eventually lead to insufficiency, which in turn will lead to failure. A man buys a slice of bread for dinner every day, and oddly enough, he's content. Day by day, as dinner time rolls around, the man goes out, purchases a slice of bread, brings it home, sits down, and enjoys it. He feels nourished and content, and therefore decides to keep his routine the same. Year by year, the man continues this routine at dinner time religiously, one slice of bread. But one day, the man goes out and meets a young lady, and as time goes on, they become very fond of each other, and they eventually fall in love. One day, they get married, and the lady moves in with the man. That night, at dinner time, the man unconsciously began to do what he has always done, which is to reach for a slice of bread to enjoy for his dinner. However, this day was different. As the man placed his slice of bread in front of him, prepared to eat it, he looked up and he saw his wife staring at him, wondering if he had any intention of sharing that slice of bread. Embarrassed, he clued in and he proceeded to break the slice of bread in half, giving one half to his wife and keeping one half for himself. The two were simple enough people that they were undisturbed by the scarceness of the food. As the next few months came and went, the couple continued to build their relationship. Unfortunately, however, dinner time remained the same as it had always been: one slice of bread. But now broken into halves. Time went on, and the couple had children, a boy and a girl, beautiful children, twins in fact, and at 3 years old. One summer night, the now family of 4 sat down to have dinner as the children were old enough to eat solid food. Dad and Mom, who by habit began to do what they had always done, reached for a slice of bread, broke it in half, and set it on the plate. The 2 children, who were starving, assuming the 2 halves of bread were for them, reached out and took the bread and ate it. After they had finished, they ran off to play. The man and the woman were left at the table. The wife looked over at her husband, and the husband looked at the empty plate in front of him, and finally he realized that what may have been enough food for him was not sufficient to feed a family of 4. Doing the same thing year after year eventually led to insufficiency. And if the man and his wife didn't clue in by then and change some things, eventually when the grandkids would come over, they would have failed to provide food for the family. Staying the same will eventually lead to insufficiency, which will in turn lead to failure. So the skills you had last year have to change, have to grow and develop and build and refresh in order to move forward. The understanding you had last week has to be challenged, stimulated, and exercised this week in order to move forward. The routine that you performed last week has to be shaken up and reinvented and reimagined this week for you to experience new results. And the bad or dormant habits and attitudes you practiced last week have got to completely turn around, or begin to turn around this week in order to become a better version of yourself. Change.